Audio rolling?
Yo.
Okay.
What's up, boss?
So we're good. Hey, Timo.
Summer, man.
Let me first introduce you. Don't even just start by talking. So with me, another edition of the Playhouse, in-house in studio, where we just get to talk to pillars of this Kenyan music industry. They share their story and you get to know, just how this Kenyan industry came to be. Some of you may have no idea who this is and you're like, Yani, from Sioka, why are we interviewing this guy? This guy is such a huge pillar in this Kenyan music industry that you're going to thoroughly enjoy this series. He goes by the name of Ennovator. He goes by the name of Teamworks. He's a Teamwork. He's an audio engineer. He's a producer. He's in the publishing business. He's just a serious pillar in this, I would even say, African music industry. None other than Tim Rimbui.
What?
So I don't even know whether to call you Ennovator anymore. I bet you still Ennovator, first of all. I don't know, man. I've done a song with Naiboy, and Naiboy asked me to put Ennovator. It's like you can't put Teamwork. Yeah. I'm an old school guy, yeah? Yeah, so it's coming back. It's coming back, yeah? But Ennovator Music is now the name of the label. Oh, so yes. If you write me a check. You're writing to Ennovator Music? Yeah. Okay, let's take this thing way back. Let's answer this thing from day one. Okay, Timo, when did your... Can I call you Timo? No, you can call me Timo. Everyone calls me Timo. Yeah. My ringtone says Timo. Okay, so when did this passion for music come and how did it start? For me, I'd say the passion for music started when I was about class 4, class 5. What had happened is my dad had gone to the UK to do some degree, something. Then we sent him for Superman, Spider-Man toys. I'll never forget that. Then we had sent him for all these toys. And he didn't come with them. He came with those 2 keyboards, like you see those guys on the streets in the bus with those Casios. Yeah! And a drum kit. And it was the time when if we didn't have a toy though. Wow. And I had my dad. Then after that, he makes us go for piano lessons. This is like now, like 90, 91, 92. So, dude, not only can we not play, but now weekends and holidays, we don't have toys. And then now when we'd be playing outside with other kids, we have to go for piano lessons. I don't know, grade 1, grade 2. Yeah. So that's where it started. Then I eventually realized, this thing is nice. So that keyboard, I just sat it down and, we could play. My elder brother and I, Aaron. So Aaron, by we, you're talking about you and your siblings? Yeah, so, Aaron, myself, and our younger sister, Ruth Karemi. For those of you who don't know, he's talking about the maestro on keys. Crucial. Keys Rimbui, who you once managed, but we'll come to that story later on. Guy, don't fuck with family. Just be family. Okay, Aaron, please bring me gifts from America, please. Okay, sir. So, so now you're playing piano. So now we're playing piano, then one thing led to another. This is now class 5, class 6. By the time I was getting to class 8, I realized, 1, people listen to me when I talk. 2, I can actually do music. Like, it's fine, I can play music, but I can hear a song on radio, recreate it. And then at the time my dad was working at KU, he led the department for communication skills. So there's always like all these weird gadgets in the house like they use for recording and teaching, like teaching aids. It's literally like an old school hi-fi that has not 1 mic, but it has like 3 mics. Yes. So you can put, like it has inputs. So it's like a stereo on drugs. So not only can you hear, but it has 3 other inputs. So I figured that I could, with cables, connect now inputs into the stereo and record a beat. What? Yeah. That is old school recording. Yeah, this is like now. What year is this? This is now class 7, class 8. Okay. This is because 96, 90. Yeah, because I did class 5 in 95. And now you're in what school? This is, I was in Lavi for a while, Lavington Primary School. Then they said I was dropping from number 1 to number 10. Then they moved me to Riara. So now at Riara, Riara was dope. That's actually where I met Msioka. What? You and Msioka were in the same... Yeah, we were in the same school. No, but Msioka was not in Riara. Msioka was in Riara. Oh yes, he was. That's even what he was saying. That's where Victor Say
Yeah, because now, now.
And that's how you ended up working at.
Now, Riara is where now everything comes together because I meet who would be my future boss 12 years from then.
Susan Kibukosia?
Susan Kibukosia. At the time, they had that African, whatever, that band of her, Joe Mboya, Guido. So, like, they had a studio in the school, and then all the prize-giving day ceremonies, they'd be the ones who would come and teach the kids. For them, I think they were just being cool moms. Okay, I don't know if they were moms at the time. They were just being cool, teaching the kids. So there was a studio in the school, like a legit studio.
You get okay. We'll come back to that. Let's go back now to this passion. So now, at this time, so what you learned how to play was.
So I have music theory that's happening. This is now class 5, class 6. There's also music at the time. For those who don't know, music got kicked out, but at that time music was still there. And then
art and craft and music.
Art, craft and music as a subject. So then there's a keyboard in the house, and then in the school, you're being over prize giving day ceremonies and all these things. There's these people who are like the cool kids, like the equivalent of Elani for the 90s. Like, right? Then lastly, my dad had this idea for the Rimbuis should be in a band. Wow.
So is that why your brother learned how to play drums?
So Aaron actually used to play drums. I would play keys, my sis would sing, and would entertain guys when they come to the house. Like, wow, Moi made parents mad. Like, what kind of plan is that?
Dude, that thing is so cool because you later on went to do a group, Ma3, with
and
your sister.
And many other things. So, like, imagine that. Like, guys come, like, when they're leaving, my dad is like, yeah, we have a band over here. My children can sing. So, sorry, I have a flu cold.
No, don't be.
But then Riyadh was good because that's where I met Kina Suzanne and Kina Victor for the first time. And at the time,
by Victor, you're talking about Victor Say.
Victor Say, and at the time, the person now who changed my life. I remember this is like now class 7, class 8. We were in Lavington Church. Then Five Alive came and sang. Five Alive was this a cappella band. And like, have you ever been in a situation where you know now this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life? You don't know how it's going to happen. I remember it was the youth service at Lavington Church. We used to go for it because it was a bit more edgier than the one for the Wazers. And there was a special guest. Five Alive were hot. Like, I can't even tell you guys how big Five Alive were at that time. It's like Sauti Soul plus Calligraph plus Pharrell plus Avocados. Like, it's just they were big. Yeah. Like, they had a Coca-Cola endorsement. They had endorsement in the 90s. They had like, they were doing awesome shit. Yo, to like a blip or a cat. So they performed in church, and dude, it's like Boys to Men, but even cooler because they were doing all these arrangements, and I liked what I was hearing. And then I'm just saying, at the time I didn't know them, I just knew there was a fat guy and and thin dudes. And Yani, anytime Five Alive were doing something, would always pester my folks.
I need to go. So for you, Five Alive coming to
Lavington Church
was the
if we didn't go that day, like, I would have never done music. I was like you hear something, like it crystallizes. Like it's in a movie where everything stands still, then you see a child cry. Then everything is just like time stands still. I remember that performance for Five Alive. It crystallized for me everything.
Man, that's when you're in class 7.
This is like class 7, class 8.
So I mean, but one thing for sure, you hadn't even gone into high school.
I hadn't gone into high school.
Whoa, that's deep. Not too many people make that.
Like, I was sure, 1, I'm going to work in music. 2, I was not sure how. 3, I was sure that when I talk, guys, like, they listen. So I was like, how do I mix all that? I was not sure about being on stage though that eventually happened because, you try. I think like any other business, you become good by knowing what you're not good at. So that's one thing I learned very quickly. So now class 7, class class 8 Form 1, through Lavington Church, there's a friend of mine called Julian Masharia. He's now like very senior. He's at Energy, CG Royal Media. He's been there, done that.
Dr. Rekebisha.
Dr. Rekebisha, for those guys who don't know him. I see him at Energy, the radio, and he looks so cooperative, but he was an MC. So him and I had another racket where we thought we'd end up designing shoes for. Julian and I became pals because we thought we'd end up designing shoes for Nike. So that's how he became my pal. So Julian had an entire catalog, like he had drawn shoes, because at the time basketball was really hot.
Yeah.
So even me, I used to draw shoes at the time. So eventually he discovered after church, he also liked music. And now Julian and them, they were a bit more tuned. So they had another hi-fi stereo in their house. So after church, we'd dismantle it, because his folks have gone to Randa. We walked back to Lavington Church, pick the stereo, go back and make beats.
With a PSR.
With now the church had
a keyboard.
Yeah, so now we infiltrated the church system so that we could have access to the tech. Because in church there was microphones, there's a PA, there's a recording deck, and there was now a PSR 500 Yamaha.
Do you know that's the first time I ever heard of PSR? Because later on in life my dad bought me a PSR 520. I learned that from you. Back the day in imagine that was
so
my
now
first encounter.
That keyboard now changed our life. That PSR 500 from Lavington Church, because now we sat down and broke it apart. Like now that's how I learned about MIDI. MIDI is basic music theory. MIDI is a music language. It's like programming. If you're a programmer, you know C++, Java, Python, all that. So MIDI is a language that helps music instruments technically communicate to each other. So you can connect this command to that, to that, to that. That's how I learned about MIDI. Note, there's no manuals, there's nothing. You just read and try to figure it out for yourself. You read the manual, then Lavi had some folks also had keyboards. So I learned about MIDI cables. I learned about, like now, the tech side of things.
What?
This is all class 8 class. So it's a bit, so when other guys are discovering chiles and pubic hair, yeah, I'm discovering MIDI.
But that helped your sound engineering, because that's what you are now. You're also one of Kenya's prominent sound engineers.
Yeah, so like I figured out how to make like tech work together. Because at the end of the day, that's what a good engineer does. So Julian also had like really loved tech and really liked the things I liked, which was sneakers. So we'd draw. So if we were not making music, we were drawing sneakers, Fila, and I remember Nikes, and sending, like we would save and send the catalog to Nike, because we were just crazy kids. Then Julian was a year ahead of me, so he because he is now a better networker, yani. Julian was like, yo, let's start a rap group. I'm like, me, I don't know how to rap, I can make beats too. And at the time we were like really super saved. Hey, God must look at me and think, this guy. Kumiko Jana is about me. I've just fallen from grace, but Team Lucifer. So I'm going to, so now this is now class 8. There's still a timeline.
Yes.
So all these things are happening. You're still in school, but over holidays. So now my holidays are split, and weekends are split like work. So a weekend starts like that. I'll either be at church with fiddling with the tech, or at Julian's house. I remember I went to Suzanne's. She was like, yo, come back when you're in Form 1, in high school. Like, because I wanted to go start working there.
You went there and
I was like, hey, hi, I know how to program, I can do MIDI. She's like, child, that is very impressive. But come back when
you're a bit older.
A bit older. Like, damn it.
Oh, when you're legal to work.
Yeah. This is like so now.
So you start a rap group.
So we start a rap group. So at the time, the Lavington Church would do a lot of like joint things with other churches. One being St. Peter's, which is in Otiende, Langata. LYF came nature, which was Loresho, but primarily the church would normally collaborate with for the August concerts, and the December one was St. Peter's. St. Peter's, the youth were a bit older than all of us, like by maybe 5 or 6 years. And then now St. Peter's had like now real die-hard MCs, like hip-hoppers.
Like, who were the hip-hoppers at that time?
There's a rap group called Rap Community.
Did you just tell us who was in Rap Community?
Rap Community, there was a guy called Izo. He ended up being separate because his star was too big. Like he was now like the Willy Paul wa Makanisa. Really, like Izo was huge. Rap Community was big, and they were being managed by a guy called Ted Kwaka,
aka Big Kev.
Big Ted and Big Kev, like the late Big Kev, and then also Ted Kwaka. The first time I meet Big Ted, who everyone now knows because big man, was when I'm in class 8, Form 1. Me, I'm an MC, so guys were giving me and Julian a lot of time, not because we were great rappers, but they're like, yo, where are you guys finding your beats?
Explain to people at this time how people got beats or music.
So how people got music.
Because there's no internet.
There's no internet. So what guys would do is you would either get a DJ friend, and DJs were even rare. A lot of music, people rapped over people's songs.
So
you know a guy like Pinye or Adrian, or you have a friend who is in the US, they'll come with an LP, vinyl record, then it has instrumentals. It will have what we call the radio edit, the vocals, and an instrumental. So guys are always getting instrumental because it's on a vinyl. Get a DJ to dub it onto a cassette tape.
Yes.
Right.
So you guys.
And then the studios here were not that many. There were like 4 or 5. There was Sync Sounds.
Audio Vault.
Audio Vault came much later.
Whoa.
So there was like 3 or 4 studios, and they were primarily commercial. By commercial meaning they do advertising. And the reason why no one was touching music, I know Suzanne and them had a studio, but for them, because of where they were in life, they could do music on the side because they were not struggling.
Yeah.
Suzanne, you are not struggling. So that's like Suzanne could do musically speaking. Like if you look at the kids who are in that band, the kids now, they're all 50s. Joy Mboya, Suzanne Gashukia, the other lady. It's so bad when you don't know the other people in the band. It's like Beatles. Matiba.
Susan Matiba.
Yes.
I know it was Susan
Matiba. It's your relative.
We'll move on.
Shit. Yes. Those are your people.
Wait, move on.
Don't edit this out. So, like then they were not struggling. So that's good. They could do music on the side. So you guys,
it was extremely shocking for people at that time. So these
guys who are a bit older than us, all those guys in Rap Community, and because the band would later on split, because Rap Community was like Kayamba Africa. They were like a Kerende of guys on stage.
I hear Steve Ominde was also in that.
Steve Ominde was now one of the guys who ended up being a producer.
From Rap Community.
Rap Community was like an organism in a sense. It spawned a lot of like either good relationships, but guys really met each other.
Yeah.
For me, that was now when I look back, it was a good lesson on how the music business works. Everyone says it's all a cartel or Kemenyano, or people know you. But all those guys are still doing things. Some of them don't do music, but because I was in Lavington Church, we collaborated with another church. I got to meet other guys who were like, yo, come perform in our church, but most importantly, who does your beats?
I get it. In fact, let me ask you, there's a song, the first gospel song that I ever had with a rapper. Julian Rekebisha actually produced the first rap song that I was involved in. With a group called Extra Fat. But the reason we went to him is because we had a song called I'm a Virgin.
Now I'm going there, goddamn.